Hello there, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 62. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Ruuts. Ruuts, we made it, brother. It's a makeup show, but we're here.
Yeah, we did it. Thursday's here as well. It's almost the end of the weekend. We got all these things to try for free, all these demos, and it's good times.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's kind of late in the week. We're what, 4 days late on our episode, and we could have just waited a few more days to the next episode. But so much stuff has gone on since the last time we did one of these shows. I don't think we can afford to wait, Roots. I don't think we can cover it all in one show.
No, and you said that as soon as you started looking at all the notes, you said there's no way, man. I'm gonna have to. And you actually, it's a good time when you can say I had to leave out a lot of stuff, because I noticed I was looking through the list and I was like, wow, this didn't make it, this didn't make it. But the good news is we're 3 days away from another show, and everything that doesn't make it on this show will be on the Sunday show on Sunday. So
Right. Yeah. We'll call this Summer Gaming Season Part 1, and we'll pick it up on Sunday with Part 2 because, yeah, just because it isn't on our show today doesn't mean it's awesome. There was just too much awesome to fit in one program.
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I was just talking to somebody, my last customer actually, as I was rushing home. I was talking about VR to him, and just some of the games like in the Sony stuff we're going to talk about that blew my mind, and the companies that are doing some of the VR that everybody said wasn't happening for some reason. And one of them looked like kind of like Infamous, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, man, I'm just blown away with where we're at, and what just got announced this week and what's coming in the future.
Yeah, man. A lot of people coming out of the Sony thing afraid, and I had absolutely the the opposite, take of it. Now, with that said, you know, I didn't watch it live. I was at work when it was on live. I came home and watched the replay, and I knew going into it that they didn't mention VR through the whole thing. But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. What's worse, Roots, having them not mention VR at all through the whole thing, or have them just mention it on like one or two things?
Or have them mention it on stuff that you don't give a crap about, like it's in the past where they're like, hey, yeah, we've got this, and you're like, I don't want that. Like, at least everything that we've seen so far to me has been amazing, and it just gives me high hopes for what's coming in the future for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR in general.
Yeah, man. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm obviously not going to recap all of those games, but there were quite a few of them that caught my eye. And I don't necessarily think that everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to have VR support. But man, if it did, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
All right, so we got a few in the chat. I see Mepper. What's up, buddy? Son of a Sparta says I'm looking good today. Well, thanks, bud. I appreciate that. Roots as well, he says. Spry Guy, what's up? Radio Runt, what's up? Yeah, I know that Anthony's show's going on right now, but if you would have asked me about it 45 minutes ago, it wouldn't have crossed my mind. So sorry, Anthony, I didn't quite mean to go head to head with you here, but it's just kind of how it happened. And after I figured it out, it was kind of too late to do anything about it.
Yeah, because then if we would have waited any longer, we would have been in yesterday's shoes, and the reason why we didn't do it on Wednesday, it would have started so late, and the show's going to be a little bit longer than normal, and there's just so much to cover, so we didn't want to go forever and too late. So
yeah, an epic Lent jam-packed episode, makeup episode of Virtual Strangers. And I guess with that said, we probably better get on it, Roots. I hope you packed a lunch.
yeah, I didn't pack a lunch, but I do feel bad for Mepper, who just tore his skin off his palm. That sucks, dude. Yeah, well,
Oh no.
yeah, I hate that. Especially if it's your main hand. You know what I mean? Because it just it hinders everything. And we'll leave it at
Everything.
that. Everything.
Yeah, that's a life-changing event, right?
Yeah, at least for a few days until it like heals over enough to not hurt. So, um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, might be time to get some gloves, bro.
yeah, very true, very true.
Okay. Well, let's get on it, Brutes. Because the upload event was just 2 days ago, this past Thursday, and this is kind of the thing we've all been waiting on, right? The PS5, as we mentioned, came and went last week, no mention of VR. And like I said a minute ago, man, uh, I'd rather have it that way because at least now we can speculate that there's going to be a separate event, right? There's going to be a VR thing that Sony does instead of if there had been maybe one or two titles that they showed that were VR games, and then is that it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Plus, that everybody didn't freak out like they did in the past with when a lot of it was VR. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I think there will be a second event, and I look forward to it.
Me as well. But this past Tuesday came with it was the Upload VR Showcase Summer Edition, and VR had its turn. That was their slogan. Now VR gets its turn, and boy, did it, Roots! It was somewhere between 20 and 30 titles attending. Some of them surprises, many of them not, but most of them looking pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the whole rundown. And was that the one that was? I guess that wasn't all the demos, right? That has nothing to do with that. That's just something else. That's summer stuff. There's just all sorts of stuff going on. But yeah, there was a lot of good titles there.
Yeah, that exactly. There was so much happening. The summer thing, the demos, all that was on Steam, and I think that that's still going on. Like if you go on there right now and click the Steam Game Festival link, you'll see that they're live streaming like constantly on there. Devs showing exclusive footage of games you didn't even know were coming all day, every day. It's been really something else.
Have you tried any of the demos?
I have them downloaded and installed, three or four of them. I meant to try them out today before the show, but then my kid wanted to play Sports Scramble, so I said, you know what, go ahead.
Yeah, I have actually have them downloaded as well. But the reason for me not playing them is uh, I keep thinking about going in there, and then I'm like, it's just a demo, and then but I want to check it out, but it's going to be so short. It's like I don't know. I just need to go in and try it. Stop messing
Yeah,
around.
yeah. I didn't demo like everything, like the Mini Motor Racing X. You know, I got a good idea what that's going to be like, so I didn't get that. But then there are other games that I'm really interested to seeing how they turn out on PC. Stuff like Paper Beast, stuff like Now the Lost Eye, stuff like Blunt Force, which I thought was dead, and just out of nowhere now we've got a playable demo of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and I need to get Blunt Force and I need to get Paper Beast, but I got the other ones like NAUU or Now or whatever it's called. Looked pretty cool. So
Yeah, yeah, it does look pretty cool. But we'll talk about that later. Let's get on to the Upload VR showcase. And the one thing that I was looking forward to the most, I've said it time and time again, was the announcement from Fast Travel Games. And as it turned out, they went ahead and made that announcement before the Upload showcase. Apparently, it was leaked one day last week. So instead of keeping a secret that everyone already knows, they just went ahead and came out with it and told us about Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife. And what this is obviously is the next project from Fast Travel Games. But this is a title from the World of Darkness universe. And it's being published by Paradox Interactive, which is the owner of World of Darkness. And for those of you who don't know what the World of Darkness is, it's this overarching gaming universe that expands outside of video games even, but is responsible for some very popular and high quality video games such as Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse. So Roots, when we were talking about these games, these horror games last week, we were talking about how there needed to be a vampire game. And in the chat, Vampire the Masquerade came up as something with an upcoming sequel that people were really looking forward to. And little did we know that that very title from Fast Travel Games that we were wondering about, what's it going to be, was a title from that very same universe.
wow, that's crazy, right? What a small world. So how are they going to tie it together? Do you know?
Well, I don't think it's going to tie directly into those games. You know, I could be wrong about that. But what this is, there was a game before, and it was a tabletop role-playing game called Wraith the Oblivion. So it was one of these deals that you play with cards, you know, at a table with your friends, and a lot of imagination involved. Um, so it's basically going to be a video game adaptation of that. You'll be playing from the perspective of an undead wraith, and it's set inside the Barclay Mansion, which I guess is a known location from this universe.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds interesting. And anytime I can see everything we're asking for, it looks really good, though, right? Of course, it's fast travel games, but I just think the atmosphere looks really good, and it makes me really psyched for this game.
Yeah, man, I've been psyched. Just seeing how psyched they are about it is what really made me psyched. And really, I was expecting something cool. You know, I was expecting it to maybe be a game out of an old comic book universe, maybe, or some kind of TV property. And then we were speculating that it might be some kind of a detective deal, which it kind of is. I mean, you're kind of taking that as that approach in the gameplay. You're kind of investigating the afterlife. Um, but you know, never in my wildest imagination did I think that Fast Travel was going to be working on a horror game. And I know from personal experience, you know, dealing with these guys and following some of them on Twitter, a few of them are a little twisted, Roots. So
mhm.
I look forward to see what they come up with.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like your a new Here They Lie or Hear Your Lie or whatever it's called. Right?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was kind of going back and forth with Andres, their marketing guy, on Twitter the other day, and he was asking, you know, what's your favorite horror game? And I mentioned RE7, and I mentioned Here They Lie, and he said, you know, Here They Lie was the first game I played on PlayStation VR, and it was amazing.
Really? Wow, that's crazy. Maybe you'll start influencing games, like the devs are making and stuff. You'll make your own horror game.
Well, I sent him a pep talk. You know, I told them that they really needed to go for it, and they needed to make people question, you know, whether or not they've crossed the line. And I told them that they needed to send people to therapy. So hopefully they'll take my advice.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, no, it looks really amazing, and hopefully it'll be as scary as I think it will be. There's nothing worse than a horror game, and we've came across so many recently where and we've even been talking about some that we've been trying to play through, and we're like, man, this is just not getting scary yet. You know, we want we want it to be scary, and I just want it to be scary, Wes, for once, or actually twice. Resident Evil
Yeah,
scared the hell out of me. Still does. So
yeah. It's almost like there should be two genres, right? There should be spooky, and then there should be scary. Because I don't really feel like the spooky games are truly horror games. They're kind of something else, right?
yeah, no, it's just it needs to have something like, I don't know, whatever Resident Evil 7 did, every other horror game needs to replicate. And I'm not the same gameplay or story or whatever, but just the way they did it was just really intense. And if you haven't played it, you should play it. So
Yeah, 100%. Ray Delator has joined the chat. Sloth Monkey, Slay Blaze, thanks for showing up, guys. We really appreciate it, especially considering we're out of our time slot and in someone else's. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for showing up.
yeah.
So yeah, I've got a quote here, Roots, from Eric, and I don't want to slay his last name, but I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid it.
Quote time.
Uh, Odell Dahl. Odell Dahl.
Okay.
Sorry, man. I know I didn't get that one right. But anyway, he is the creative director at Fast Travel Games, and he made a statement saying, I am a massive fan of games like Amnesia, The Dark Descent, and Alien Isolation, and have always felt that the kind of narrative-driven, exploration-focused horror these titles deliver would be perfect for VR. So here we have him dropping a couple of names, a couple of well-known titles. Alien Isolation, of course, legendary among VR gamers for being one of the best horror experiences in VR, even if it isn't officially supported. And then we have this Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which I haven't played before, but I know that most of us have it because uh, Epic Games gave it away not that long ago, and I believe you already had it in your library, Roots.
Yeah, I do have it actually, and a friend gifted it to me. I don't know if I've played too much through it, but I'm still blown away how you haven't played through that other game you just mentioned, um, and needs to happen soon. We're just talking about it.
Well, I'm debating it. We've got Monday show coming up next week, and I was thinking that we would switch back and do a mod, and
mm,
I'm trying to decide whether or not we should do Alien Isolation or should we do GTA 5. I really want to play both of them. I know that a couple of our community members really want me to do the Alien Isolation.
it's easier.
Uh,
Easier to set that mod up. You just drag it over and it's done.
yeah, that's what people say, that it's like the easiest mod to install ever.
Yeah, it's literally just dragging the file into a folder and then that's it. Whereas GTA 5 is not hard, but it can be difficult. Like you can have issues happen, but I don't know. What we could do is we could put it up for a vote in the Discord and just kind of do a poll and see what they want us to play. Or I guess, I don't know, you or us, or I don't know what if I'll be doing the same one or what we're going to decide, but be interesting.
Yeah. So absolutely, if you want to put in your 2 cents and you have not yet joined our Discord, you will find an invitation in the description down below. Join the community and join the conversation.
Yep.
So anyway, Ruuts, Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife, even though that they didn't announce it during the upload showcase, they did come to the upload showcase and they brought some very early pre-alpha development footage. And there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, they called it gameplay footage, but what it really was scenes in the game, level design. And I mean, to no surprise, you know how talented those guys are. Everything looked absolutely creepy and absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you said you weren't expecting a horror game from them, but like I kind of almost we should have been because it wasn't one of the genres they had hit yet. Because I think they're trying to prove to everybody we can do it all, and they seem to be doing it all. Every time they do one, a different one, it's amazing. So I really look forward to seeing what they can do with horror.
Yeah, man, I really, like I said, I quite a few of those dudes over there are cool dudes who share similar taste and interest with me. So I think that they were all like, you know what we should do next after this little cutesy, the Tale of the Curious Pets. What was the word that everyone uses to
Charming.
describe that one? It's charming.
Yeah.
This charming little narrative-driven experience. You know what we should do next? We should do a terrifying horror game. And then how they went from that to landing obviously a very popular franchise and making the first VR game to come from that franchise. I mean, it really speaks volumes about their team that they've got going on over there, not only from a PR standpoint, but a development standpoint, a rising group they have over there, and they're already one of the best in VR.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we're going to see more from Afterlife when it's going to be fully revealed with a gameplay trailer during Gamescom, which starts August 27th. And for those of you wondering, Fast Travel says the game is coming to, quote, all major VR platforms, which includes, obviously, PlayStation VR as well as Oculus Quest.
Nice. So everybody gets in on this fun. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. And, it was funny. We used to joke about 2020 being the year of Cyberpunk. I think it's going to go down as the year of horror because, I mean, we've already gotten a handful of really cool horror titles, but we still have this coming. We've got Cosmophobia coming, Desolation, just a ton of great looking VR horror games still yet to come.
Yeah. Yeah, and the biggest one coming to the PlayStation. Yeah, I don't know. Does it come this year or is it next year?
I think it'll be early next year, but they haven't announced. It could launch with the PlayStation 5, which would land it right around November. But I think it'll be early next year if I had to guess.
That's awesome. Now let me ask you this. Did you pick up your copy of Last of Us 2? I saw it's out there and available.
No, I did not, but I think it's funny, Roots. On launch day, over 7,000 reviews had already been posted on the Sony PSN store page for it, which is amazing that that many people got their hands on it before it even launched. What do you think about that?
Were they all positive reviews?
Oh yeah, very a whole lot of 5-star reviews in there.
That's yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? Little fishy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what the Reddits and what people actually say. Maybe people will love it, but I'm guessing you're going to be right, and it's going to go down as a shit show. So
Agreed. Ray Delator says, I was disappointed when they didn't show much footage from The Walking Dead Onslaught. Me too, in a way, but I kind of get it. And we're going to talk about that one here in a few minutes. But I kind of understand what they're doing now. We've questioned them publicly many times on this show. What are you doing? What are you doing? I think they kind of gave us a pretty good hint as to what they're doing. But we'll talk about that one in a minute. Next, I want to talk about a pretty big surprise for me. Trial by Ting made an appearance on the Upload Showcase, and this was one that got a reveal trailer forever ago, and we all thought it looked cool. We all thought it looked beautiful. Of course, as we all know, this comes from the developers of Form and Twilight Path, but it just kind of disappeared after they released that initial trailer, and we haven't heard anything about it since. And then all of a sudden, during the Upload Summer Showcase, we have a full-blown teaser trailer for it. And, I think this thing looks pretty friggin' cool. What about you, Ruuts?
yeah, it looks pretty cool. It reminds me of at least some of the areas. I don't know if you ever went on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the ride at Disneyland. I don't think they had it at Disney World. Maybe they did, but it just some of the world, I don't know. There's so much of the graphics in this type of environment that I can see in being able to ride those rides. I keep going back to that. I want to go to Disney in VR, but no, I think it looks amazing, and I think the other games proved that they were good. They had good puzzles, and these environments look amazing, don't they?
Yeah, man, this game looks like it has a whole lot of attitude, doesn't it? It looks funny. It looks funny. And the funny thing about that is it's set in hell. If you can pull off comedy from hell, it's a very unique genre, and when it works, it's pretty good.
So Cyberpunk got delayed. Did you hear that? No, I didn't hear that. So
I just now heard it from Radio Room there.
Yeah, I think that was before November. Oh, okay. So it got pushed back a couple months. I wonder what the reason is. I won't even speculate. I don't want our stream to get cut now that
I don't know, man, but I know that game looks so awesome and detailed, and there's so much stuff going on in it. It doesn't really surprise me. It would probably, if they're pushing it back to November, I'm assuming that they want to launch it as a next-gen title, because that's when the next-gen consoles are going to come. They're going to come in November. So I imagine that they're going to launch it as a cross-generation game. So you can get it on the new systems or the old ones. But I imagine that they just wanted to kind of pack it in with those new consoles and kind of piggyback off of all that hype.
Ah, cool.
Anyway, Trial by Ting, the new trailer plays out like a satirical tourism ad from hell, which is where the game is set. It's a VR puzzle title, but with an unusual theme. You'll be solving puzzles and running through gameplay that helps you to work off your karmic debt. So, Ruuts, if you're one of these people who are burning in hell because you continue to abuse the Steam refund policy, you're going to be able to work off some of that karmic debt by doing some odd jobs down in hell.
That is true. Remember, Anthony did that episode or talked about that. There is karma. He says that, if you never know, man. You don't want to piss people off and do bad things and have to work it off in this game. So,
yeah, well, that's what you get for taking food off of that game developer's table, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is a steal, I guess. You don't want to refund it. I would never refund it just to play it and refund it. But if I don't like a game, I still stand by it. If you don't want me to refund your game, make it good. If you,
Exactly.
you
I
know,
mean, if you're going to run a platform like Steam, where you just let just anybody publish their game, anybody can publish on Steam. You have to have some sort of a failsafe in place to, uh, account for all the bloatware and crap that they allow on there. And yeah, I'm like you. I don't feel I've never refunded a game. I'm always very careful about what I buy, but trust
mm,
me, if I had to, I would not feel bad about it in the least.
yeah, I've refunded a couple. I usually don't.
Uh,
Try not to anyway.
That reminds me, and I'm kind of curious how you stand on this. I was on Twitter yesterday, and some advertising firm had signed some $7 million deal to place non-intrusive ads into VR games.
No.
And people were kind of roasting it on Twitter, like, "Oh, great, they're going to ruin our VR games." Um, but it got me thinking, man. They said non-intrusive, first of all, and second of all, that's $7 million in some developer's pocket that might really need it. So, where do you fall on that? Ads in your VR
I think
games?
it's a slippery slope, and I think all of a sudden we end up with who knows what, man. Like it just recently, okay, Twitch has been doing weird stuff. If you're not subscribed to the channel, like they just start in the middle. They'll send you to ads, and everyone else is still seeing what's going on. It's just something different I've never seen before, and I don't like it. And I'm just watching somebody's gameplay. I can't imagine being in the middle of gameplay and having to stop and watch this Nike ad or something where they're, lecturing me about something. And it always starts as non-obtrusive. And what is non-obtrusive and whose definition is of it? You know what I mean? I just as soon leave it out. But
Well, here's the thing. We've seen it before. And then this is the ironic thing about it is one of the people that were kind of chiming in on it and roasting it was Blair Renaud, the developer behind Lo-Fi and Technolust.
hmm,
But if anyone of you out there have played Technolust before, there's ads in Technolust. They're non-intrusive ads. They're really cool looking, and they didn't put me off at all. But there are Origin computers all through Technolust, and there's gameplay footage of Radio G all
hmm.
through Technolust. So there's a good example of non-intrusive ads in VR. I just kind of felt it was funny that he was chiming in opposition to it when he's taking money to put ads in his game.
Yeah. Well, that is kind of ironic, but it actually makes me think a little bit differently, just that whole story, because like, what if you had a city landscape and you had Nike as a sponsor and they just had a billboard in the game and it was just a billboard that you saw, like that type of stuff I could see being behind it, or like a television screen where it's, in the background you're seeing whatever ad it is. I could see doing that, but it just depends. It depends on where it ends, where it starts and where it ends. And I just don't trust that it's not going to end up sucking somehow, you know, but I don't know.
I'm going to reserve judgment on it. My early impressions are anything that gives these starving artists some money in their pockets is a good thing, and I'm going to trust them with the ability to do this without it being an issue. So when I start seeing pop-ups and shit in my game and stuff that's really breaking my immersion, I'll speak out about it. But until then, I'm going to try to keep an open mind on it. Ray Delator says, I wish PlayStation had a return policy. Yes, Ray, a lot of people do. And you may see a little bit of movement in that direction because Sony just got sued like big time in Australia for not allowing refunds of a product which was grossly misrepresented in the pre-release advertisement.
Mm,
So apparently they sold some crappy game. People wanted their money back. They didn't get it back. They sued for false advertising and they won. So Sony had to pay out so many $1 million because of it.
wow. Well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Steam does it. Oculus does it. Everyone else does it. Quest. So why not give some leeway? Maybe it's not 2 hours. Maybe it's an hour. I don't know. But
Right, right. Yeah, I mean there should be some recourse. I mean I get it. That's what the Sony quality standard is in place for. But sometimes some BS slips through the cracks. Roots. Every now and then you get your weeping doll that shows up on the PlayStation Store, and you're like, you know what? No, bro, this ain't worth my $3 that I spent on it.
Tornuffalo was on that. No, it's not on there. Never mind. That would be one that I'd be pissed if I paid for it on PlayStation.
That Sharknado made it after many months of trying. They finally got it published on the PlayStation Store.
I wonder how good that is. I need to try that.
I don't know, but when you think of a game like Warzone, which was released on PC as this big multiplayer game with like 16v16, fights, and then it releases on the PlayStation Store with no multiplayer, and it's just you versus a bunch of bots. I would think in that specific example that a refund would be warranted, even though they're upfront about saying, "Hey, there's no multiplayer here on this version." I mean, it's got to suck, right?
Why would you do that? Like Call of Duty's always been notorious for being on both platforms the same. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. That's weird.
No, I'm not talking about Call. Maybe did I say Warzone?
Yeah.
I think I'm talking about War Dust.
Oh, okay, War Dust. Yeah, no, War Dust is 16 versus 16, and that's a totally different. That's actually really cool. We need to play that sometime, Wes. You have War? You don't have War Dust, do you?
No, I do not. But I would consider playing it, but absolutely not on PlayStation because we can't play together on PlayStation.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not big on those kind of games for just for playing them. You know, I mean, if you're gonna want me to play through a shooter type of game, it better be like Farpoint or something to get me to play it.
Anyway, Trial by Tengu is set to release on PC VR platforms. No word on potential Oculus Quest or PSVR ports just yet, and no release date just yet. Only that it's, quote, coming soon. It looks like they've made quite a bit of progress with it, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this game this year.
Yeah, me too. It looks really good.
Ray Delator says, I think if they start going full digital, they would have to have a refund policy. Yeah, Ray, there's been some speculation here for about the last year that there's going to be major shifts in the store policy with Sony, not only allowing for refunds, but allowing for digital game trading and gifting and selling. They've published patents that speak to this. So I don't know if they're actually going to go through with it, but I know that they've at least looked at making the digital marketplace more like a physical marketplace. So
cool.
The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Ruuts made an appearance. We were surprised when they said that they were going to be showing up at the Upload VR showcase. We kind of wondered, what does The Walking Dead have to show? Maybe show some quest footage, but that wasn't what they did at all, was it?
No, they completely added more stuff to it, which was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, when we learned that there was going to be 2 Walking Dead games coming, and we said, "Hey, this is the narrative-based one, and this is the action-based one." And I think that we're starting to see from both titles, this one becoming a little more like that one, and that one becoming a little more like this one, because at the Upload VR showcase, Skydance Interactive revealed the announcement trailer for the Meat Grinder update. And basically, this new update will introduce a brutal new horde mode style battle arena to an already awesome narrative driven campaign.
Yeah, who doesn't want to be surrounded by zombies, the hordes coming at you? I mean, that's the crazy. You want to be in that crazy scenario like Rick or something, where you're being chased by 100 zombies and you're hiding in the tank, and like I just think it'd be really cool. The only thing that would be cooler than this mode right here would be multiplayer in this mode, where you can have like just insane amounts of zombies coming at two of you, or maybe even three. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's coming, Roots. They know it. You know, I'm a member of their Discord, and ever since day one, this is what people have been screaming for. We want multiplayer. We want multiplayer. So I know that these developers know that this is what we want, and I know that these developers are capable of delivering it because I think they've more than proven themselves with this game that they can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, yeah, they just keep adding cool stuff to it. So now the only
I mean,
thing
just
I was gonna say, the only thing they need to do now is get Scion in there. If they can get Scion in there, they've done it all. That's it. You
well,
walk
I'm
away.
just going to throw this out there. If Scion wants me to play Echo VR, he knows how to do it, bro.
Oh
You know how to do it.
yeah, that's a good idea. That's true, Scion.
You want me to play because you said so? Well, you got to play because I said so, bro. It's a fair swap if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But anyway, this new update is going to deliver a handful of maps, one of which is brand new, to let you fight through waves of zombies that are obviously going to get progressively harder as you craft weapons to fend them off for your own survival. So it's going to be one of these things that not only do you have hordes coming at you, wave based, but you have to craft your weapons to keep going through it. So you got to make use of that time in between waves.
Does that mean you have unlimited like supplies to craft with, or am I like running around looking for stuff on the ground real quick in between waves? Makes me wonder.
Well, I imagine that the points you get, and you'll notice on the trailer there that they hand out points for the different methods you use to kill them. If I had to guess, I'd guess those points probably play into how you upgrade and craft.
Yeah, maybe. That's true. Look at there's Henri. I feel bad every time I see him hanging there.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
Hamburger face Henri.
Yeah.
There's even a brand new katana added into the game for this too. So if you want to slash them up like Michonne, decapitate, you can do that to your heart's content, Ruuts.
Nice, man. That's cool. Well, now this comes out in July, right? So we're only, a few weeks away. Well, the beginning of July, anyway.
Yeah, conflicting reports here. It is coming in July for sure to PC. The upload article I took these notes from said that it would be coming to PC and PlayStation in July 2020. But from my own memory, I seem to remember them saying that maybe the PlayStation one would come a little bit later. But then again, I could be wrong about that. It could just be me thinking that because everything comes out later on PlayStation, it seems like.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, cool. We don't have to wait that long either way, right? So.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, not very long at all. I'd say a month at the most. We'll have to wait on this one. And now that we're on the subject of the PlayStation VR version, it was an absolutely great port. Blew me away with how well they were able to port that game over onto that old 7-year-old console. Absolutely awesome. And it was quite a feat, and they were recognized for it because this past month, the month of May, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners was recognized as the winner of PlayStation's Player's Choice Award for the month of May. So what that means is every month, for those of you who don't know, Sony polls the players. What was your favorite game that came out this month? And it's always a flat game that wins. It's always a flat game that wins. Not this month, Ruuts.
Wow.
The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners ended up beating out all the flat stuff that came out during the month of May.
That's crazy. And it lined up with what we said was the best PlayStation VR game of May as well, right? This was our pick. So
yeah, this not only my PSVR game for May, it's my PSVR game for 2020 so far. And it's going to be hard to knock it off. This is one of the best VR games ever, period.
Yeah, that's what I was just telling that customer, my last customer today. And he needs to get PlayStation VR. He already had the PlayStation, and to get Walking Dead. So,
yeah, man, this is a system seller. System seller means different things when you get into PlayStation because, Sony Sony sells their headsets to their base that already have their consoles. So the rules are a little different for them. And I feel like games like this and another one of the games we're going to be talking about later in the show, I feel like these are headset sellers. And not only do I believe that it's going to sell some headsets, but it obviously sold a lot of copies because it was PSVR's best-selling title for May, beating out popular titles like Gorn, and even the almighty Beat Saber fell at the hands of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners this month.
Good. Screw Beat Saber. Needs to die.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not even, it's a no contest in my book, but, I'm a little biased, and I'll admit that.
Yeah, and I've got Audica bias too, so.
Right. So that brings us to The Walking Dead Onslaught, which we were talking about a moment ago. They showed up in a roundabout way to the Upload VR showcase, but it was only for a few seconds. And, as I alluded to a moment ago, we've been questioning, why is it taking so long to get this game out? It was in a near finished state last year, and people were playing through it, saying it was great, saying it was polished. And then The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners shows up. They released their game to, a tidal wave of good reviews. And then the Onslaught just kind of disappears. And we always kind of speculated that maybe they saw what Skydance was coming to the show with and said, hey, we need to up our game a little bit. And I think that that's what they're doing here, Ruuts, because even though no gameplay was shown during the Upload showcase, we did get a message from one Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl on the popular AMC television series. And he let us all know that he's been recording voice work for this game, obviously from the comfort of his own home. But, before, when Servios was trying to sell us on this game, they never would come out and say that you could play as your favorite characters, right? They would say that they had iconic weapons from the television show, implying that you could pretend to be Rick or Michonne or Negan or Daryl. But now we know that they're taking it up to the next level, man. And this is going to be a full-on VR game of the television show version of The Walking Dead.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this is it? Do you think that Norman Reedus is the only one, that maybe they're just going to slowly announce another one? Or, I wouldn't doubt what's Rick doing? He's not even in the show anymore. So, like, I'm sure he's got time, right? So, but put him in as well, maybe.
Well, they're making a movie with Rick. Like, they're making a trilogy of movies about what happened to Rick after he left the show. So he's still very much involved, even if he isn't on the show anymore. But yeah, I would at least expect Negan to show up on there. He's one of the big faces of the franchise now. Maybe Michonne, she just left the show, so I don't know if they'd be able to pull her in on something like that. It's hard to say, man. I think that they're reworking it. I honestly think that they're remaking this game and building on the game that they had already made. I think they're doing exactly what we thought, and they're upping the quality level and making it something that will appeal more to the television Walking Dead fan, more than just having a generic zombie game and tacking on a few things from the television show to be able to put that brand on there.
Well, I'll tell you what, this trailer is old, but man, it looks good. I mean, especially that zombie that's sitting there with the sword stuck in his head as it's coming out. I don't know. I get psyched for this game more than just about anything else. And the fact that Daryl, remember I said I wanted to be Daryl. Now Daryl's going to be in the game. That's amazing. So hopefully we'll get, who knows what else we'll get from Servios, but I guess it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, man, I think it's going to be awesome. And I think if people were blown away by the quality level of the Westworld game, I think this is just going to take it up to another level, because that's what they've done, right? They've continually raised the bar with every game. And I feel like this is going to be no different.
Yeah, every game they've made has been really good, and it might not have been my cup of tea, like Battle Wake or whatever, but I've seen so many people like raving about Battle Wake. You know, it's just not my type of game, but it's a really good game. So I agree. Every game they make, it's better and better, and I think this is gonna blow people away. So
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait for this because a lot of people started on the Walking Dead comics and then started watching the show. It was just the opposite for me. I started on the show, and I'm a big fan of the show. And I've read a lot of the comics. I've read probably half of the series, the first half. But I'm a Walking Dead TV show fan. And as much as I love The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, it's one of my favorite games. It's one of the best games ever in VR. I'm still totally pumped for Onslaught because it's built around the universe that I came to know and love, the AMC Walking Dead universe.
well, not only that, but like the beauty of Westworld, like you said, when we went into Westworld, it was like, because I really liked the series, I was like, oh my God, I'm in this world. They did such a good job of making you feel like you went in this world. And I can't say Saints and Sinners. Went in and said, oh my God, I'm in The Walking Dead. I mean, you were in a really amazing zombie game, but you didn't enter that world like you said you felt like. And I want the same thing. I want to go into Rick's world, and I want to see Glenn get his brains bashed. Well, I probably don't want to see that in VR. That would be horrible, wouldn't it? To see that in front of you. I'll pass.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed watching it on the television show, so I probably would love to see that in VR, to be quite honest.
Yeah, maybe.
Poor Glenn. I wouldn't have picked Glenn, but that's what made it hurt so bad, right? I think their ratings have went down, you know, since then, like consistently gone down. I think that's 100% why. I think people love Glenn so much that seeing him get taken out like that just put people off so badly that they stop watching.
Not only that, but they got to a point where it was like we have to kill somebody big off every so often. And maybe it's the people wanted to get off the show, whatever the reason is. But as you start to lose all these key people, it's kind of like, okay, that the Walking Dead, the Fear of the Walking Dead or whatever, it hasn't really taken off as well. I mean, it's okay, but it's not as good. But it's because the actors aren't, you know what I mean? When you get a cast that clicks together with a really good story, it changes everything. And then you start picking off all the good actors, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you have a riffraff, a bunch of people running around. You're like, I don't even care about any of these people. So
Well, with that one in specific, Fear the Walking Dead, they keep shuffling it so much. I don't think it's necessarily that they have riffraff on there. They have a bunch of very talented actors on there, but they keep switching the cast and the story. They turn it upside down every year, and it's like they keep trying to start over again.
hmm.
And you can't do that. You have to let people develop a relationship with these characters and care about them before you start killing them off. And I don't know. I think that they do well to bring some of them back, honestly.
Yeah.
The new gameplay from this take on the popular zombie franchise is set to come this summer. So Ray says he was upset that there wasn't any new gameplay. Well, apparently you're not going to have to wait very long before we get there.
What do you think the release date will be, if you were guessing?
That,
Because if they were just seeing new gameplay this summer, what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think they could very well be, overhauling this whole thing
Hmm.
and just building on their old game as as a base, a foundation to build upon. So it's hard to say, man. It might be next year before we see this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, that's what they're setting pace for. You would think, right? I would say 2021. But it's good. I mean, if it's going to be a better game, I'd rather them take their time and spend more time. We're already almost a full year past fall of 2019.
Well, think about this. We've said it before that these game developers, they always have to develop for the lowest common denominator, right? Which in this case would be PlayStation 4. But if they're waiting till next year, that goes out the window, right? Because now we're talking about PlayStation 5, and now the lowest common denominator is way up here.
Hmm.
So maybe they're just doing what Resident Evil 8's doing, and they're just overhauling the whole thing for next gen.
Yeah, well, it sounds good to me, and it sounds smart.
Yeah, plus I mean, Saints and Sinners is going to own the rest of this year anyway with their updates and their quest support. They're not going away anytime soon, so they may just be taking a knee and letting them have it this year.
Yeah, yeah, well, it'll be good either
Anyway,
way.
yeah, it's going to be great, and I don't care to wait. If it means getting a better game in the end, I'm all for waiting. So.
Yep.
So we mentioned it before that we thought this was going to be the year for Cyberpunk, and that was in no small part due to the announcement of Lonn from 6 Cent Studios earlier this year. Lonn, another one of these titles that gave us a reveal trailer and then kind of fell off the map for a while, and then resurfaced at the Upload VR Showcase Summer Edition. For those of you who don't know, Lonn is the highly anticipated Cyberpunk action game, which is slated for release later this year. You play as a former bounty hunter, now taking the fight to a mega corporation named Megalo. And Megalo is creating cyborgs by transferring people's consciousness. So it's a common theme, right, for Cyberpunk games to have this kind of jacked in depiction of humanity. Everyone plugging into the AI. A few of us left who aren't plugging in, and we've seen it in Technolust and Lo-Fi, and we're seeing it again here in Lonn. So the concept thematically very unoriginal, but I got to think, when you compared the gameplay from Lonn to the other Cyberpunk games in VR that we have and the upcoming ones as well, I think this is the best looking one from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And it's creepy as hell because everybody you're fighting are real people, Wes. They're cyborgs that were taken over. They just tried to jack in for the new game and they got taken over and now they're fighting everybody. So it's pretty creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And it's got, of course, it's got some lo-fi vibes. It also has some Sirento vibes because it looks like there's a lot of physics-driven melee combat going on here. But not only that, but you're going to have like a telekinesis power. And honestly, it looks like they're incorporating a lot of what we saw in Half-Life with the physics based gameplay, and the telekinesis power is a lot like the gravity gloves, the way that they use it. So yeah, again, if you're going to copy something, I mean that's the thing you want to copy, right? The best thing in VR.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Half-Life has screwed me, or Half-Life Alex, for a lot of games because that's the first thing I want to do in every game, Wes. I don't care if it's an indie game or not. I want to magnet hand stuff, and I can't. And I'm like, damn it. It should be like standard. You should have magnet hands, pop your stuff up. It's VR. Don't make me bend over grabbing shit. So yeah, I agree.
So this is it's a narrative driven game. It's an action adventure game. Not only combat, and apparently there's a lot of action in the game, but there's puzzles as well. I've heard people say that this looks like a wave shooter, and I just don't see that at all here.
Yeah, well, if anything, it's a wave slicer. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things that for me, I'm not a big melee person, so I would rather it be a gun. But it looks like you're literally moving through it from one area to the next. It doesn't look like a wave shooter to me at all.
No,
So
I don't think so either. But I can see, I guess, a little bit of that with just the way that they've made this trailer highlight so much action. Maybe it would come off like that to some people.
yeah.
But let's see here. Okay, I think we've touched on everything with that. Well, it says that the telekinesis will not only help you with puzzles, but it lets you grasp out of reach objects and fire crates and other items at enemies when you're low on ammo. So if you don't have any weapons, again, you're in a physics-based world. You can use your magnet hands to grab something, but then you can fire that very same thing and use it as a projectile to take out enemies.
Well, I guess he does have a gun there, right? What is that gun he's using? Some kind of shooting some kind of projectile as well as the sword. Maybe I could do this. It looks
Yeah,
pretty.
it's a very versatile game in terms of what it's doing here. There's a little bit of everything. There's shooting, there's melee, there's puzzles, there's physics, there's story. I mean, there's just a little something for everybody, if what the developer says is to be believed.
Yeah, decapitations.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
doesn't love decapitations, right?
yeah. Decapitations, dismemberments. It really looks cool. I
Yeah.
mean, it looks like, honestly, and I don't say this lightly. It looks like a lot of what we wanted lo-fi to be is going to be in Lonn.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the differences are between the two. Now, do we know a release date on this, or did they?
No, later this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's another one that's in development. I'm pretty sure that Sixth Sense Studios is a relatively small team, so it's one of those that we're gonna get it when it's done.
Yeah. True.
Anyway, really looking forward to Lonn. Vertigo Remastered, Ruuts, another title that showed up to the Upload VR showcase, and we got our first gameplay look at Vertigo Remastered. And for those of you who don't remember, Vertigo Remastered is a top-to-bottom reworking of the original 2016 VR game Vertigo, featuring new visuals and many of the gameplay updates that have been seen in the upcoming Vertigo 2. In this game, players find themselves mysteriously teleported from an idyllic home in the mountains to a strange, otherworldly facility. Things get weird from the very start, including visions of a strange monster and attacks from smiling drones. Ruuts, this is a game that I never played, Vertigo. And again, this is, I'm glad I've never played this game, because now I get to play the fully remastered version. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to be vastly improved.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because I've never played it either, and I thought about playing it when we had the demo for Vertigo 2. I thought I need to play through the first one, and for some reason I didn't. But now I'm glad I did. Now, do you know what the cost is on Vertigo 1? Because I was reading today, and I think it's at the end of this trailer. It says that it's going to be free for anybody that owns it already, and it's going to be $25 for all you suckers that don't own it, or something like that. I don't know exactly what it says, but some kind of derogatory thing. But it made me want to go out and buy it today, because I think it's probably not $25, I would think, right?
I see this thing on sale for $5 and $10 all the time.
Okay.
So, and now that said, that's normally on the Oculus store, and I think that this remaster version is coming to Steam. So I really don't know how that's going to work. But I got to imagine if it's on sale on Oculus all the time, it's got to be on sale on Steam all the time as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up in real time while we're doing
Yeah.
this and see what.
I'm gonna look it up on Oculus to make sure I'm not full of shit, because maybe I'm thinking of another game.
It says
But, I'm pretty
July
sure.
2020 is their planned release date, right? For Vertigo.
Vertigo on. This can't be the same Vertigo.
The Vertigo. No, I don't know. Because I was looking for it earlier, and
This
I didn't.
isn't.
It's not the same
Yeah,
one.
it's
like
not the same one.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier. It was on sale or something.
$250. It's on sale.
Wow.
So
what
yeah,
a good
disregard what I said. Disregard what I said, because this is Vertigo with an exclamation point,
deal. Huh.
which obviously makes a difference, right?
So I don't even know if you can buy it on. I don't know. I don't see it.
Does it take it off Steam?
Maybe, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just missing it. It's weird.
It's in our library. I know that.
Yeah, me too, but I don't think it's mine, so I still got to pay $25 maybe.
Nah, man, it'll get updated. We'll be able to play the updated one, no problem. But
Okay.
Vertigo, yeah, they don't show the original Vertigo anymore, do they?
Mm-mm. But the good news
Vertigo
is
2, Vertigo Remastered.
the good news is Derail says he's got his account fixed for Xbox Live, so he can join Jim Hall and me at Sea of Thieves, and we still need our fourth. We're trying to get a galleon going. So anybody that's played that game, it's a really fun game. Yeah. So.
Mepper says he picked up Vertigo for $1.60 on Steam last year.
Oh, damn it, Mepper! Why didn't I do it? Son of a bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, this is coming in just a few weeks. It makes me wonder when Vertigo 2 is coming, because that playable demo came out forever ago. And yeah, if they've had time to, remaster the entire original Vertigo, when's Vertigo 2 coming?
I don't know, but it said $24.99 for the rest of you losers for that don't own this game. So I feel bad. I should have bought it for $1.60 when Meppers did, but he didn't tell me. So
free for higher dimensional entities. Well, hopefully we won't be ascending to the higher dimensions anytime soon. But if we do, I'm going to come back and claim my free copy.
It looks pretty good. So hopefully it'll be good. I don't know. I didn't hear too much about the original or what they're changing, but it looks amazing. So
yeah, it looks great. It's meant to be, a lot of people call it like a Half-Life clone. And this guy obviously taking heavy inspiration from the Half-Life games. He even worked at Valve for a little while. This developer, I've described him as a prodigy before. He's a very young man and has accomplished a lot already, and he's just getting started.
Wow, cool.
Very talented game developer. Look forward to checking out not only Vertigo Remastered, but Vertigo 2. The Rig from Sunset Division is another game which was unveiled the week prior to the Upload VR showcase, but they already have released another trailer for their game. The Rig, a star map to murder, is a point-and-click style adventure game inspired by classic detective stories like The Maltese Falcon and Touch of Evil. In this game, you play as a failing travel agent that picks up the trail of her missing brother. Boarding a remote mining rig, you search the facility for clues as to your brother's whereabouts. The game is fully voice acted and built from the ground up for VR. Ruuts, so we have a murder mystery here, point and click style, but this one takes place in the future, in space. This looks like a highly polished game, Ruuts, narrative driven, and it seems like it might be right down my alley.
Yeah, I'm worried about my brother now, man. He's out there getting murdered. Actually, it seems pretty cool. So I guess you're like a space detective or something, or are you just on the trail or something?
Yeah, you're a travel agent, actually.
Oh, okay.
But you're trying to figure out what happened to your brother.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, again, fully voice acted, built from the ground up for VR. This is exploration based puzzling, light puzzling. It's narrative driven. I feel like it's gonna be one of those games at the end of it where we're gonna be saying, okay, was that a game? I don't know if it was a game or not, but it was good. That's what I expect.
Yeah. Well, Mepper says he's going to get it because it seems different in a good way from other games he has. So, yeah, it seems pretty good. It makes me wonder, Mamefan says if you can die, it's a game. If you can't die, then it's not a game. I don't know if it's
what about if it's your brother that died?
Oh God, then it makes me sad. Well, it does. It looks cool. I mean, you got puzzles in there, so I would say it's leaning more towards a game than an experience, or a walking sim.
Well, you know me. If you're gonna tell me a story and tell it well, with full blown good voice acting and high production values, it doesn't have to be a game for me. I'm fine with experiences. I'm fine with walking simulators. Just take me somewhere else, man. Take me out of this screwed up topsy turvy 2020 world here, and make me forget about it for an hour or two, and then you can have my money.
Yeah, sounds good.
Anyway, the rig arrives later this month on Steam VR Ruuts. Not long to wait at all. About 10 days, I think, until this one drops.
Wow, that's quick. It's close.
Yeah, it's another one of those surprise. Here's a game, and it's one of the things we used to complain about, but now it's become one of the things I love the most about VR. Is you don't know what's coming tomorrow, bro. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's only going to be that way for a while, too. We should enjoy it while it lasts. The more mainstream we get, the more mainstream releases we'll get, right? So
That's right. These are the good old days, folks. Enjoy them while you can, because we're not going to be getting $20 games forever just dropped in our lap out of nowhere.
yeah.
It's going to change. It's going to change quickly when it does.
Yep.
Ray Delator, my favorite games are when you can interact with the NPC. Yeah, I agree, and that's one of the things I'm really holding out hope for with Lo-Fi, is that world that he's building is supposed to be jam-packed with fully voice-acted NPCs that are interactive. So even though we don't have like a big overarching story narrative, there's supposed to be literally hundreds of, quote, side quests, that we can partake with what they're claiming to be, photo real NPCs. So a lot of high hopes for Lo-Fi.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because there's a lot of his scope is very, very high. He's really setting his bar high, and we'll see how it all shapes up. I've already bought it, so.
Yeah, and I haven't been into it since the Kickstarter, and from what I understand, it's really come a long way since then.
Cool.
D-Rail says that I like the way you can interact with the NPC in Lone Echo. Yeah, Ruuts like that too.
Yeah, I like how you can really piss her off if you keep bugging her or shining the light in her face. That's what I like the best. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I like messing with the Widow and the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. She gets defensive really quick, and all you're trying to do is comfort her.
Yeah, nobody in that game, man. If you just barely graze anybody, they don't like you touching them, Wes. And there's no touchy feely. As a matter of fact, in the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners world, there is a 6-foot, law that people want you to stay away 6 feet at least. Social distance yourself.
Oh, let's just be careful here. We're treading on thin ice, Ruuts.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
We don't want to talk about that which must not be named, because they might just jerk our stream down and ban us for a week if we do, right?
Yeah, that's true. And without being specific, we think that's why. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to, we're doing it sort of an experiment here today, because as you all know, we did kind of get taken down a couple of weeks ago, and we really didn't know why. And originally we thought it was because we were talking about Star Wars and showing some footage. But upon second thought, we were talking about some current events, and I'm thinking maybe that was what got us taken down. So we're going to talk about Star Wars here shortly. And if we make it to the end of the show without being jerked down, then we'll know why they did it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sure. I'm 99% sure that's what it was, but we'll see for sure.
Oh, Gamertag VR, GT's in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Late, Gamertag up late. Onakazi, what's up, brother? Up late for these guys, right? Like, what is it, like 2 o'clock in the morning there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a really, really late episode for us.
Yeah, we're only 4 days late.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to cover all of these games from the Upload Showcase. Some of them we're going to talk about on Sunday. Some of them we're not going to talk about at all. But there is one more that I want to touch on before we move on to the Sony event. Phantom Covert Ops Ruuts. Yet again, another trailer from these guys. And, we always say the same thing when these guys come out with a new trailer, right? The game looks better this time than it did even the last time. Yeah, this no different. We had a brand new trailer, fully voiced over by David Hayter. Of course, David Hayter is the voice actor who voices the villain General Zurov, which is an ex-Soviet running the rogue Cold War era naval installation that players infiltrate by kayak. So David Hayter plays the big bad in the game, and he's a bit of a star in our space because of the work he did on Metal Gear Solid, among other things. But what I really want to focus on is the gameplay footage in this game. It's beautiful, isn't it? From an artistic perspective, graphically, lighting, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and the one thing that a few people in the Discord have given it crap for is what excites me. I want to see how they do this stealth game in a kayak. I'm intrigued because it just gets better looking every time I see a trailer, and I want to see how you move around and how it's done. And it's such a unique mechanic to have in this type of game. I just think it's going to be really good, and I think there's going to be a Gerillo and a Scion that are going to be feeling stupid when it comes out, because I think it's going to be really good.
I do too. I think it's going to be one of those games where you have to proceed with caution. You have to move forward very slowly. It's, dude, it's a rail shooter. Let's be honest. It's a rail shooter, right? But they did it in such a way that it's not like you get to move yourself down the rail with paddles, but it's a rail shooter. So I think that you're going to be moving forward slowly to do so in a stealthy way. I think that there's going to be tons of branching paths. So you get to choose, do I go this way? Do I go that way? Do I go that way? And which is going to allow for a lot of replayability, obviously. But again, it never fails to astonish me the path that we've taken with this game. We went from laughing at it, the concept, the first time we saw it, to saying, okay, maybe this might be all right, to saying, okay, this looks pretty good, to, oh my God, this thing looks awesome. And I can't wait to see, obviously this is Rift footage. I can't wait to see how this turns out on Quest.
Yeah, and I take a lot of stock in the people that have tried this. There's a lot of people that have actually tried the demo and played this, and nobody's came out saying, "Oh, dude, this game sucks." It's kind of like the Iron Man. Everybody that I've heard talk about this game has said it's really good, and who doesn't love shooting a gun in VR? And I think it's going to be amazing.
Right. Gamertag says, who isn't buzzing for Phantom Man? It's really good. There's a couple. You'd be surprised, but then again, they might just be trolling.
Yeah.
D-Rail says, I think this game looks great. Those people need to lay off the pipe. Or maybe they need to lay on the pipe, bro. Maybe that's what their problem is.
Yeah, maybe they're too sober.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a roll maneuver to hide upside down, Onakazi says. Oh, that would be cool. It would be cool if you could just get out, we said this with what was the other game too? From I'm losing it now. From Archiact, the Freediver, that we kind of would like to see it go on land a little bit because the mechanic, the diving mechanic is so cool. We'd like to see it incorporated into a larger thing. I think that we're going to be saying something similar at the end of this. That the kayak thing was so great. I can't wait for the sequel when we can actually get out of the kayak and infiltrate some of these facilities.
Did they say how long this game's going to be by chance? I can't remember.
I have no idea how long it's going to be. My gut tells me that it's going to be a standard length, high quality VR game. I would say somewhere from 5 to 10 hours, but I don't know. That's just pure speculation on my part.
Yeah, I was agreeing. 6 to 8 is what I was going to say. So yeah, somewhere in there.
What we do know about it, Ruuts, is that it's coming on June 25th. Somebody who I know's birthday. I think my birthday is going to be quite happy. My employer has let me have that entire week off, just like this week. And I'm going to get to stay home and play these awesome new VR games. And there's more than just this. There's a few coming out in the next couple of weeks that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on.
Yeah, 1 week, dude. That's it. We'll be playing. We'll be Phantom Covert opping it up.
Yeah, I got to imagine that we'll be seeing this one any day now, to be honestly. But we shall see.
Yeah, and that's true. I didn't even think about that. So
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop there with the upload titles. There's just way too many of them to talk about all of them today, because I want to also talk a little bit about this Sony PS5 reveal event that took place last Thursday. You know, a lot of people came out of this thing with a sour taste in their mouth because PlayStation VR was not mentioned at all. And I got to say, you know, I was hopeful that we would see the logo on a few of these games, you know, but I'm not surprised, right? Because this is the first big fan showcase of the PlayStation 5. Why would Sony do anything that would possibly draw a negative word from anybody? Because you know that even though they're the minority, there are a few VR haters out there that are quite loud. And I got to imagine if Sony had even a 10-minute segment dedicated to VR on this thing, that people would have been crying through the whole thing.
yeah, they would have been bitching. Now, Gamertag and Derail just said they're going to be getting Last of Us 2 in 6 hours. So nice. Is that when the release is, I guess?
Yeah, something like that. Now, I know Derail, I'm pretty sure it has been privy to the spoilers. What about you, GT? Have you seen any of these spoilers? I have, and I got to say that's the only reason that I'm not picking it up is because I know what happens, and yeah, no. Did you guys try the AR PS5? AR PS5. I don't even know what that means. It's pretty big, to be fair. Okay, I don't know.
I did not try the AR PS5, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever that is. No. 2 hours for me, Derail says. Yeah, man. You know, that game looks awesome, but I don't. I don't want to spoil it. I hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
Gamertag
Let
says
us know.
no spoilers.
Let us know what you think.
Are you going to stream it, GT? You're going to stream The Last of Us 2?
He's got to, man.
They ruin The Last of Us like they ruin everything, Delator says. That's absolutely true. But, you know, that said, in fairness, the game looks awesome. The gameplay, the mechanics, the updates that they've made to the game, everything looks beautiful except for the story. And that was enough to sour me on it. But anyway, let's talk about, okay, you can use AR on your mobile and have a PS5 to see what it looks like. Yeah, I had no idea about that. I didn't know that they were doing any of that. So they're actually doing some AR applications for PlayStation 5.
Oh, nice. So I was going to say, Gamertag said he is streaming it. So if anybody watching wants to see gameplay of The Last of Us 2, go to Gamertag VR and he'll be streaming it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I was wanting to watch some streams anyway, just to get some real-time reactions when it happens, just to see the look on their face. So, yeah, I didn't know whose stream I would be watching.
Now you do.
But now I do. I'm going to watch GT play it.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about this Sony PS5 reveal event. Again, not a big surprise that they would exclude VR. And to be quite honest, I'd rather have them excluded altogether than have them put it on like a game or two games, because now we at least still have hope that there's a larger PlayStation VR reveal coming. Whereas had they, you know, just given us a little bit, we would have been like, is Sony dropping VR? It doesn't look like they have very much planned for it. But I, for one, believe, Ruuts, that they do have big plans for PlayStation VR. And I've come to believe in recent weeks, Ruuts, that my theory about PSVR Plus, I think that's the way they're going to go. It makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them being ready to release a full-on PSVR 2 this year. But we all know that the headset needs an upgrade, and the controllers especially need to be upgraded. And I think they're going to give us that. I think that we'll have it by next spring.
I agree. There's no way they cannot put out new controllers and new tracking. Now, I also agree with you that it's going probably going to be a PlayStation 5 only thing. So you'll have to hook up with a new one to be able to use it. Isn't that what you were saying? You were theorizing.
I think that it'll be. I put a lot of thought into this. I think that you'll be able to use it, but you might not be able to use it at its full resolution on the older machines. I think that you'll at least be able to use it on the Pro, but you'll probably be able to use it on the OG as well. But it'll run at the old 1080 resolution of the old headset instead of whatever the new resolution is.
Yeah, it'll be so cool though. I can't wait to get an upgrade for it with real, tracked controllers or better tracked, I should say. So.
Well, that's a speculation here because Sony, even though they didn't say a thing about PSVR, they did unveil a new HD camera peripheral. And like the PS4 before it, the new camera is a dual lens 3D spatial camera. So obviously, this thing is meant for PlayStation VR. And there's going to be other applications for it. I get that. Anything you can use Kinect for, in theory, you can use this camera for. But I think that if you want to play PlayStation VR on PlayStation 5, that you might have to buy this camera. But at the very least, having this camera, I think, will give us a little bit of an upgrade when it comes to tracking.
Yeah. Cool. I'm down for all of it, especially with the titles coming out. So.
Yeah, Onakazi says it definitely needs a bump. But to do a whole new SKU to tide them over for a year to 18 months is something that I don't think that they'll do. I don't know, man. The demand is out there for it. And it really, I guess it just depends on how close they are with PSVR 2. Do they already have a finalized design in beta testing? If not, if they still don't know what PSVR 2 is going to be, I don't see where they have any choice but to release a new headset.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a refresh, kind of like Rift S. Not a full-blown new platform, but a new headset that looks just like the old one, only it has updated screens and new move controllers that look just like the old ones, only instead of that move button, there's a clickable thumbstick there.
Because think about it, the PlayStation VR, even though it's not as graphically intensive as, say, PC is, it doesn't get shit for that. It gets shit for its tracking and it gets shit for its controllers. They have to solve that problem. The sooner they can do that, the sooner everybody looks at them as more of a viable headset. A lot of people, Girillo, the Girillos of the world instantly will just crap all over it because it's just, and let's be honest, the tracking being subpar and the controllers being what they are, they need to be shit on. They're okay. They do the job, but they're not what everybody wants. And when PlayStation VR exclusive people get into the new headset and they're using better controllers and better tracking, they'll agree with me. Right now, what I just said irritated the hell out of them. But it's the truth, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it makes sense on so many different levels. Not only do they have to convince the PlayStation VR gamer to buy a PlayStation 5, but they also have to convince the prospective entry-level VR gamer to buy a PlayStation VR instead of a Quest, right? So I feel like a hardware refresh makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, me too.
I was starting to worry, Ruuts, that PlayStation 5 wasn't going to support PSVR after all, because they really hadn't mentioned it. They hadn't mentioned it since that Wired article way back when some marketing guy said that PlayStation 5 was going to support the original PSVR. But the day after the Sony reveal last week, the Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO, Jim Ryan, indeed confirmed in a CNET interview that PlayStation 5 indeed will support existing PlayStation VR hardware. And the quote goes something like this, quote, all that we have said to date, and we're not adding to it tonight, is that the current PSVR is compatible with PlayStation 5. So, Roots, to me, when I hear him say that we're not adding to that tonight, is that it's obvious. It's obvious that intentionally decided to not talk about VR. I think personally, what that says to me is there's going to be another day for that, right? There's going to be VR is going to get its day. It's just not today.
And we have no idea what they're announcing or getting ready to announce into PlayStation VR before PlayStation 5 drops. I expect over the next couple months, we're going to get some amazing news that we probably would have never even dreamed was going to be in VR. We're right on the cusp of seeing some of our favorite titles being ported over or being dual put into VR, like a Resident Evil 8 or that type where it's going to be flat and VR. They can do it. It's just whether they decide that it's viable. And I think we're right on the cusp of it being viable for just about anything, really.
Yeah, so. I agree. And you bring up Resident Evil 8 there. So let's get into some of these games that they talked about on the PlayStation reveal event. And let's talk about Resident Evil 8 specifically. I've updated you guys periodically on what the rumors are. About the game, about the gameplay, about the story narrative, and about VR support when it comes to Resident Evil 8. And we got the Resident Evil 8 trailer during the Sony reveal last week, and what we saw there totally supports all of these rumors and leaks that we've been getting over the last few weeks and months. And the only rumor that really couldn't be confirmed from watching that trailer was the VR support, right? So I got to feel like if every leak and rumor pretty much was proven true from the footage here, except for the PSVR thing, it gives that a little bit more credibility, doesn't it?
Yeah, plus the fact that, why would they not? Resident Evil 7 was so well received in VR. It's one of the must-have for PlayStation VR. Why would you suddenly say, nah, we're just not going to put number 8 out in VR? It just makes no sense. If it would have flopped or it did decent, you could make the argument, okay, that might not be viable. But I think everybody is expecting it. And you nailed it before. It's a system seller. A lot of people bought PlayStation VR for Resident Evil 7. And I guarantee a lot more will do Resident Evil 8 in VR as well.
Yeah, man, I just love it. I love the look of this game, and I love the idea that there may be, werewolves and vampires looming. We talked about it last week and many weeks before that these types of games are underrepresented in VR, and to have my favorite franchise in or out of VR to go in that direction is very exciting for me. One thing we did learn from this trailer that we did not have any idea about coming into it is apparently this isn't going to be a cross-generation game anymore. They have decided apparently to completely revamp it for next gen. Wow. So the PS4, the Xbox One versions that were previously being developed, it appears that those may have been scrapped.
Suck it. If you want to play this, you're going to have to get the new console, right?
Yeah, man. And, I understand why that might upset a lot of people, but it has me particularly excited because it means we're going to get a better game, right?
Right. That's the short-term person is going to be upset because they've got the PS4 now. They don't have 5. They can't get it right at launch. So they want, they're going to want to play it. But, when you do play it through and it's on that PlayStation 5, you're going to be glad that it wasn't dumbed down for the PlayStation 4, if that rumor's true.
Yeah, Steve is in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Roots, I love the story of this game. When this game, Village, first came into development, by all accounts, maybe 2.5 years ago, it wasn't intended to be a mainline Resident Evil game. This was an offshoot. It was a kind of a side project Resident Evil title, much like, uh, I don't want to misquote some of these older games, but we've seen other games like this before too that weren't like one, two, three, a numbered title, right? But they put the game Village into playtesting, and people raved about it so much that they decided that they would make it a full-on numbered uh, Resident Evil canon game, if you will, with full support on PS4 and Xbox One, PSVR, the whole nine. And and since then, now we come to find out that they've decided to go ahead and make it a full-on next-gen launch title. So from nothing to something to everything, Roots.
Yeah, it's gonna look so good, especially on that new a new console or the new generation. I am
Yeah,
totally psyched
I'd
for it.
wager I'd wager that it's going to scare the very last piece of shit out of me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that's the only game that's really, really made me freak out in virtual reality is Resident Evil 7. There's so many
Yeah,
moments where it's just like, man, I need to get the hell away from this dude. And this is cool, like you said, man. We at the end you see the werewolf, and so who knows what the hell this story is gonna do? And you're gonna have vampires. You got those. Who knows what those chicks are? I mean, they're just really intriguing. The whole thing, the whole trailer just makes me wonder what the hell is going on, and I can't wait for it to drop.
yeah. Skiva says I played RE7 all the way through in VR, and it almost scared me to death. I love it. Not only is it my favorite game, but the Happy Birthday tape is also my favorite escape room that I've played. I absolutely love that game, and I'm still traumatized from it. And I kind of feel like, Roots, that when we start playing in the Resident Evil 8, that it's not going to be very long before Jack comes back to life and starts haunting us through the village.
He is not dead. I guarantee you, he did not die. There's no way. I too many times, Wes. I was sure he was dead. Man, I watched him catch on fire. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff happen to Jack, and he just keeps getting back up, and he keeps trucking for me. So
I mean, that guy blew his own face off, right? Blew his own face off just to make a point.
yeah, who doesn't blow their own face off though these days, right?
Anyway, Resident Evil 8 Village, not the only title Sony showed off, which we strongly believe will have PlayStation VR support, but they also showed off Gran Turismo 7. Uh, so this game, absolutely beautiful. And even though it's not my genre, the racing sim, I am kind of excited about it because it not only does it look like such a high quality title, but we have heavy, heavy reason to believe that this is going to be a PlayStation VR game. Um, Gran Turismo creator and Polyphony digital head Kazunori
Mm.
Yamauchi. Yeah, sorry, sir, for butchering your name. The creator and head of the development studio behind Gran Turismo gave an interview to GT Planet last summer, in which he spoke about the next Gran Turismo title that was then in development and the effect that next gen console power is going to have on that game.
Wow.
Roots, what time is it?
It's quote time, and it's time to say
Well,
hey to
uh,
Hussein X, who asked if we were live. But
oh yeah, hey buddy, yeah, we absolutely. We're going to do them all live until YouTube bans us permanently, which probably won't be very long.
yeah, as long as we stay away from taboo subjects, like anything that's currently going on in the world, we're okay.
Yeah, right, right. Let's just focus on the games, and we'll all be okay together, huh?
Yeah, yeah. If we focus on games, they won't shut us down. I'm pretty sure. So,
Anyway, this is a quote from the head uh, developer behind Gran Turismo and the creator behind Gran Turismo. This is what he had to say about the next Gran Turismo game and the effect that the next gen power is going to have on it. Quote, the first thing that it's going to be affected by more power is VR, the developer said.
Hmm.
I don't think that there's anything else that requires that much processing power. I really like VR. I'm one to believe in the possibilities of it, and it's very suited for a driving game. So this is what he had to say when he was asked about what kind of effect next gen's going to have on Gran Turismo, and pretty much just talked about VR when they was asked that question.
Well, it makes sense because I tell you what, my 2080, there's nothing that will tax it at all except for VR. I got to go into VR to push it, you know. So yeah, it definitely takes up that processing, and it's cool that, I mean, if it tells you that it should be on every VR platform, or at least PlayStation VR, if he's saying that about VR and he really likes it, I'm pretty sure he's going to break, and it's suited for VR. He's going to bring it into the PlayStation VR as well, right?
Yeah, I gotta believe that this is 100% probably going to be the very first PS5 VR game that we get, and I think it's going to be full support this time, unlike the very limited support that they gave us with GT Sport.
Well, where's my Outrun? Damn it! I want something like, I want to go across, or Cruising USA. I want to go across the United States or across Europe or something, and I don't necessarily want to go in a circle. I want to race across, all the track. I don't know, man. I really enjoyed Cruising USA in the arcade, and I think somebody needs to make a game like that that's got multiple options on branches, and you can travel the whole US. I think it'd be cool.
It's called The Crew, and they made it flat. But if the Crew had VR support, it would be amazing because it's literally what you just described. It's a map of the United States. You can go anywhere. You can take any of the major roads to get there, and it's just driving. It's a driving game.
Yeah, that's what I want. Well, let's make The Crew in VR then. But no, it's something that I think that could do really well in a VR game if they just would make it, so
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, I think Gran Turismo is 100% going to be a PlayStation VR game, and I thought it was gorgeous. Roots, what did you think about just how this thing looked? I mean, they had the ray tracing in full effect on these cars, and the sound spot on as well.
it just looks amazing. So you put yourself in the headset, and I've said it before, a person that's playing a flat racing game with a 2 or 3 monitor setup is one step away from virtual reality, because that's the next step. You can't really go any further from that setup to actually being in there without actually getting in there in virtual reality. And this is going to be next level. This is one of the things that you've played all those other games, racing games, and most of them look amazing, but they don't look as amazing as they would in real life. This looks better than it would in real life almost. So
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, and I feel like we're in a good time for VR because I feel like a lot of the people that were in denial about it before, at first people were in denial about VR because they knew they couldn't afford it. So what's the next thing to do? How do you deal with that? You shit on it, right? Well, I don't need VR. Obviously, it's going to make people sick, and the games look like tech demos and all of this. But now, VR has become more accessible, a lot easier to use, and people have softened their stance greatly on VR. And I kind of feel like the group of VR haters that are left out there are a very small and dwindling group. And I think that we're going to eventually win them over as well.
yeah, I agree. They've either never tried it, can't afford it, or maybe they got put into VR and did get sick and need to get past it. But then there's all sorts of technologies and different tricks that they're doing that, today's games don't make you sick like a couple years ago, even if it's the same type of game. They really are coming a long way. Like even that, what was it, the grip? We were saying you're flipping around and doing all this stuff, but you don't really feel the same kind of sick as you think you would. So they're doing a good job of almost eliminating that. So
Now, Grip's absolutely a lot crazier than Wipeout from that aspect. You're flipping around constantly, sticking the walls and things. But it doesn't get me as much as even Wipeout does. And I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing,
Yeah,
especially for new VR gamers.
absolutely.
Uh, Gran Turismo 7, not the last thing that I would say is highly likely to get VR support uh, from the PS5 reveal event. They also showed off Astro's Playroom. And everybody knows Astrobot Roots. Even the people outside of PSVR knows Astrobot now. And there's a reason for that, Roots. It's because of the Playroom. The Playroom came pre-installed on PlayStation 4, and what the Playroom was basically it was a program that was meant to demonstrate the technical capabilities of the PlayStation 4 and its peripherals. There was a regular flat Playroom, and then there was a VR version of the Playroom to demonstrate the same thing for the PlayStation VR. So I think that's what we've got here, Roots, with Astro's Playroom. I think that this is going to be a piece of software that is designed to show off all the cool things that PS5 can do. It'll show off the Tempest audio engine. It'll show off that SSD. Maybe give us a little bit of world jumping going on, and most importantly, it's going to show off that dual sense controller and all of the cool things that it can do with variable resistant triggers and new haptics that they've put in there. I think it looks pretty cool, and I can't wait to check it out.
It does look cool, and it's cool that it's free, right? It comes with the console, so you don't have to. I mean, it's already loaded in there. Now, do you think how long do you think it'll be? Do you think it'll be like a legit Astrobot length, or um no?
No, I think it's going to be very much what the Playroom 1 was, and it's going to be a tech demo. It's going to be 6, 8, 10 different little mini games that you can play through.
Okay.
Probably an hour, hour and a half of replayable content, because a lot of that stuff's party games that you can play with multiple players. I feel like that's very much what it's going to be. It's going to be a highly replayable title, but it's not necessarily going to be a story campaign.
And you said you think it's going to be they're going to have like a version for VR as well, like you could play it either way.
Absolutely, I do. I think that the Playroom 2, even though it's Astro branded, I think it's just a very much a continuation of the old Playroom. And we're going to see a VR version or a non-VR version. Either that, or they're going to have one big overarching program that's going to have VR stuff in it and non-VR stuff in it. But yeah, I think that there's going to be definitely some VR modes to this thing. And I think it's funny because this, I think, upset people more than anything is that they didn't announce VR for this title. And Roots, this is just a tech demo. It's the one thing that VR players claim to hate the most, is the one thing that they're screaming about wanting from the PS5 thing. That they want this tech demo.
Well, and maybe who knows? Maybe there's a different version of Astrobot 2 coming out. We don't know what they're doing. This could just, I mean, there could be something to taste, to whet your appetite. So I don't know.
Well, the first Astrobot grew out of the Playroom. I mean, if it weren't for the Playroom, there would have never been an Astrobot game. The Playroom VR was so highly praised and so well loved just from that one level that it had, that they ended up doing 20 more and making a game out of it.
Yeah, so who knows what they've got in store for us, right? So
that's the thing. Who knows what they have in store for us? I do think that they have big things in store for us. I think Sony is committed to VR, as they have said literally year after year since they've launched the thing. They've always reiterated that they're committed to VR. And I think that before PlayStation 5 launches, we're going to get a look at the future of PlayStation VR, even if, again, it's just games, PS5 exclusive games. But I think that's enough,
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about some of these other games. Let's talk about some of the games that really impressed me that probably, let's be honest, probably won't have VR support. But man, if they did, it would be phenomenal. First of all, we have Ghostwire Tokyo. This is coming from developer Tango Gameworks, published by Bethesda. Ghostwire Tokyo is a next gen action adventure game that will see timed exclusivity on PlayStation 5. Roots, when I saw this trailer, and apparently this really isn't something new, that this is something that's been in development for a while, but it's new to me. And not only does this game look awesome, but it looks like a VR game, doesn't it?
And I was watching the trailer and I don't see how it's not like, and it looks a little bit like Infamous. This is the one I was telling you about. The way that they're doing all the moves, it's all from a first person perspective and it just looks like it's VR to me. And so why not make it VR? I mean, it could be an amazing virtual reality game as well. And I don't know. And then I saw Bethesda attached to it and I thought, oh my God, if this wasn't VR, that'd be phenomenal, right?
Yeah, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. And these games I'm getting ready to list off here, like Ghostwire Tokyo. You know, you've asked me many times, are you going to do it, Weasel? Are you going to play some flat games when you get that PS5? And my question to you, Roots, is how do I not play this? Look at this thing, man. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It looks phenomenally. The graphics on it and just the weirdness of it. I like that world
Yeah.
as well. Like you said, I think that this game in virtual reality would just look phenomenal.
Yeah, it'd be one of the best for sure. Then there's other games like Returnal, which is a brand new third person shooter from Housemark. Returnal was announced for PS5 during the reveal event. The reveal shows a middle aged woman landing on an alien planet fighting against demon looking creatures and spiders. The narration at the start of the trailer said she was reliving her first moments on the planet over and over.
Hmm.
But every time you die, the planet appears to change, which also further impacts the character's psyche as well as the enemies that she encounters on the world. Roots, first time I saw this, I thought Farpoint,
So I thought
but
too. Yeah.
the concept of the game, reliving the same thing over and over, and it gets worse as you go. That's a completely unique concept, and it sounds like something that would be a hell of a good time in VR.
A procedurally generated planet every time you die and like persistence. That's crazy, right? That's just going to be
Yeah.
insane. And what an amazing game for VR if it were to release for virtual reality.
Yeah, man, it's another one of those, just like the last one. I don't know how I don't play this game, Roots. It looks so good. And this is just I haven't listed very many here. There's 10 more titles that I could say the same thing about from that reveal event that I didn't put on this thing here. Just total excitement for me watching that Sony event.
Yeah, I didn't say I should have watched it. I just was letting you watch it.
Dude, you gotta watch it. You gotta put on headphones
That's what I heard. That's what people
and you
keep
gotta
telling
watch
me,
it.
dude. You have to wear your headphones. And I said, I don't want to wear my headphones. Dude, could you tell a difference? And could you sit there and
Oh yeah.
honestly say, okay, that's Tempest?
Oh, no, I would not say that. I wouldn't say that this is the full on effect that you're going to get from running the Tempest engine, directly. But they put an emphasis on 3D audio, and it really added a lot to the trailers.
No.
Some more than others, but you can see that they're focusing on immersive gaming. I mean, there's a reason, right, that they told people to wear headphones.
Right. And you have to wear headphones in VR. So I think that's where it's
Right.
all headed. It's all headed to virtual reality eventually, probably sooner
Well,
than later.
it's certainly headed, at least in the case of Sony, they are focusing on building immersion. And they're not only doing that through graphics, but through haptics and sound, through virtual reality, and through all of the technology that's available to them.
Yep, agreed.
We also saw the trailer for Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Beautiful as expected. But last week we speculated that we might hear an announcement that the original Horizon Zero Dawn would be coming to PlayStation VR. The speculation was based upon some very strong hinting from industry insider Callum Hurley. But I'd like to point out the fact that Mr. Hurley never explicitly specified that it would be the first Horizon game.
Mm.
It is possible that he was referring to PSVR support for the next Horizon game, which again was revealed at this event. Ruuts, we always speculated that it was the first Horizon game because that was the only one that we knew that PS4 would run in VR, possibly. But if we're talking about PS5, PS5 is going to be able to run any of these games in VR, right?
Yeah, imagine this game in virtual reality. I don't know either game, I guess, really, but this looks amazing, right? Like, is that a rat? I don't know what the hell that
Yeah,
creature is, man. That's
I think it's a fox or something. I don't know.
I don't know. This just looks amazing. I'd love to be in that world. And I don't know. It's exciting, man. Like maybe both of them will be in VR. Like I said, we're right on the edge of them saying, you know, why not? Let's just start putting them all out in VR, or at least all the ones that people want to see. And this looks amazing.
I think that people are losing sight of that fact. Uh, if you believe that Sony is fully behind PlayStation VR, people are forgetting what that means from a games perspective. That means that now that PS5 is allowing them to put anything that they want in the VR, we're going to start getting stuff like this in VR. If they're serious about supporting PSVR, we're going to start seeing big name exclusives in VR because, again, they're able to do that now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then PC will have to keep up. We'll have to start putting in the amazing games, you know, start bringing some of those games over. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Exciting
man.
time.
It is an exciting time to be a video gamer. It's an exciting time to be a VR gamer. And the news didn't stop with those two reveal events, Roots, because even before the Sony event, I think it was a day or two before, we began to see leaks about Electronic Arts' new upcoming Star Wars game, Star Wars Squadrons. Uh, and since last week, the company has now released the first details surrounding this game. These details include an action packed trailer, two trailers, and confirmation that virtual reality is going to be supported.
Crazy.
This is going to be developed by EA's Motive Studios and will be purely starfighter based combat. And it's going to lean heavily towards team dogfighting, offering 5 versus 5 intense battles. You'll be able to pilot ships of the New Republic and Imperial fleets. So here we have, Roots, an attempt at multiplayer versus multiplayer in VR. But uh, this game has some things going for it that other VR multiplayer games don't have. Namely, this is a AAA title from EA, and it's coming to all platforms, not only in VR, but outside of VR, and it supports crossplay. So we're all going to be able to play together in VR, on console, on PC. It's all one lobby. And I think that it has to be, right?
Yeah, and it has everything going for it to make it successful, right? It's got the AAA title. It's Star Wars. It's from EA, and the biggest obstacle is now gone because you don't have everybody only buying in as a multiplayer from VR. You have all the flat gamers coming in together. Everybody's gonna buy this. It's Star Wars. I don't know if you ever played any of the Rogue Squadrons back in the day, or I think that was what it was called. It was really cool. I really enjoyed them. And when I saw this, this was one of the biggest, hugest things I've seen for VR in a long time because it's exactly what we said. We want a legit Star Wars game in VR, AAA. We don't want an experience. And finally, now we got it, and it got Radio Runt out there to to buy a HOTAS already. This has only been announced for a day, and he's already gone out and bought a HOTAS for this game specifically. And I think I'm going to be doing the same thing when it drops. I will have a HOTAS for this VR, man. So
Yeah, man, this game looks absolutely amazing. You know, Star Wars Battlefront 1 had a X-Wing mission on it that was fully playable on PlayStation VR. And much like the Astrobot game grew out of the Playroom VR, this game is growing out of that because everyone said, this is awesome. Give me a whole game of this. And that's what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. I was just reading what Soft Monkey was saying. He never understood why the demo was only on PlayStation VR, and he always wanted to check it out. Now he's going to get to do it. I don't know, man. This is huge, and it's just another example of big companies realizing that we're now at the level of AAA, and it doesn't. This is the smartest way to go about it. Bring a game out that's both VR and flat. Then you're not limiting yourself only to the VR crowd. You can still sell millions of copies, still make all the money, but you're now creeping into virtual reality. I think it's smart.
Yeah, and you know what else is smart, Roots, is this game, initially I thought that this was a multiplayer only game. It's not, dude. There's a full story campaign included with this as well. So for guys like me who don't want to be playing multiplayer all the time, we get to get in that cockpit too and go and fight for our freedom.
I don't know. You might have a fun time doing just like in Grip. You might have a fun time joining a team, you know, me, you, Skiva, and a couple other people just crush it, you know. And
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it in the least. Being able to get out there with you guys, fly around, turn around and see my R2 unit behind me, helping co-pilot. Dude, I'm a Star Wars fanboy. I'm absolutely going to love this.
yeah, it's amazing.
Let's see here. What else? Ships will be upgradable with new components like weapons, hulls, engines, and shields to unlock. So full-on progression that you would expect coming from a AAA game, right?
Yeah, yeah. You want to have all those progressions, all those reasons, like I said, to pull you back in, to build up your ship, get you upgrades, whatever. So that's really cool. And I am
Yeah.
also psyched for the story mode as well. You know.
Yeah, see, Sloth Monkey says I'm more excited for even the single play. Yeah, I'm the same way, man. That's my bag, dude. I very much am a story-driven gamer. Tell me a story, and if I can be in that story and it's inside a universe like Star Wars, I'm down 100% of the time.
Yeah, me too.
VR multiplayer is viable when you can play with flat gamers. That's true, but Ubisoft was going to go that direction with Space Junkies, and I think they even gave up on it before they even released it.
Yeah, you got to have a draw. There's got to be, you know, I don't think flat gamers wanted to play Space Junkies. You know, they put it out there and people tried it and they didn't really like it. Maybe it was something that was better in VR, but this is going to have the draw that everybody's going to want to play it. You know, there hasn't
You know
been
what else?
there hasn't been a game like this for Star Wars for several years where you're you know, flying and fighting in the air. So
Yeah, I mean, it really gives you hope that one day we would get a full-on VR support for Star Wars Battlefront, right?
yeah, we will eventually. I mean, all those games, as soon as they start, you know, why not just bring it into VR, revamp it, you know, and put it back out and let everybody experience in VR.
Yeah, the single-player story mode is said to be set after Return of the Jedi, covering a key campaign near the conclusion of the Galactic Civil War. So yeah, they're touting new story, canon story, and new locations never seen before across movies, games, anywhere. So we're actually going to be able to witness with our own eyes planets and systems that have never been seen before in the Star Wars universe.
Nice. That's awesome.
It is very awesome. We've been going for exactly 2 hours now, Roots. What time is it?
Is it quote time?
It is quote
Yeah.
time.
Whew, I didn't know. I
And
thought.
and I quote, "We created this game for every Star Wars fan who has ever dreamt about soaring across the galaxy in their favorite starfighter," said Motive Studios creative director Ian Fraser in a statement. "We've been able to create a high fidelity starfighter experience with an authentic storyline that invites Star Wars fans to explore never before seen corners of the galaxy in their own ship." Ruuts, could he have said anything better there than what he just said?
No, it's amazing.
I mean, I think the only thing that he could have said is like, it's free for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's free, and we also have a story mode where you're going to get out of the ship and run around and do everything else too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's coming. You know, there's one thing about the Star Wars franchise is that these people are all about making money, and they will take advantage of any platform, whether it be movies, television, novels, comic books, flat games, mobile games, VR games. They don't give a shit, man. They're getting their money.
well, I'll tell you what, it's actually a good thing that the movie industry is struggling as it is, because no one's really they're not. I don't even know if they're making a Star Wars movie right now, so they can focus everything on the games and put them all into virtual reality for us, right?
Yeah, man, I'm all for it. And then how about PlayStation VR? Getting this and getting Vader Immortal right together. I mean, shit, man, that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, this is going to bring people into virtual reality, because the experience was one thing and people loved it and love it, but being able to actually fly these ships in a AAA game, especially if this is your type of game, it's like those the racer games, like Alex is just a phenomenal. That's his jam, right? There's people out here that flying these type of games is what they love, and being able to be in that world is just going to be next level. So I think it's exciting.
Yeah, man, I don't think I've used a HOTAS in probably 25 years since I used one, maybe 20.
I'm excited that I will for this and every other game like this. No Man's Sky and just other games you can use it for will benefit, but this will get me to get the HOTAS. I guarantee it.
Yeah, well, HOTAS ain't like a wheel, right? You can get a HOTAS for about the price of a
Controller.
good game controller, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're 60, 70, $80. You can get a high quality HOTAS. But that should be the case with the wheel sets too, or at least not that much more. $100. You should be able to get a good wheel set for $100. You absolutely cannot.
I just want one
Not even close.
I want one that's not all weird, that actually works. Just plug it in, everything works. There's no setting up. There's some weird stuff going on with the wheels, Wes. And at least for me, I don't know how to set them all up as well. So
Sloth Monkey says, "Did ILMX Labs make the Void version of the Star Wars experience?" Yes, they did, and actually, the Vader Immortal was kind of based on that thing that they did for the Void. So
cool.
Absolutely. Anyway, PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and as well as PlayStation VR, PC VR headsets, all supported, and again, all crossplay. Which, if you're going to have a 5v5 multiplayer game in VR, this is pretty much the only way to do it, unless you're, one of these unicorns like Firewall or like, Pavlov and Onward.
Yeah.
Star Wars Squadrons will launch for all supported platforms on the 2nd of October 2020. Available to pre-order now. Ruuts, it's only $40.
Wow. And when is it coming out? They don't know. I noticed this trailer says February 20.
No, that's the ass backwards date format. It's actually October 2nd.
Oh, okay. So October.
So they put the month, and they switched the month and the day is the reason why it looked like February to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually the 2nd day of October 2020. So
cool.
Not that long to wait, dude. Not that long to wait.
No, it's really not.
So yeah, again, big things coming for PSVR. Pistol Whip coming to PlayStation VR. Two different high quality Star Wars experiences coming to PlayStation VR. We know they just got The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Iron Man's coming. What in the world else could they do with PlayStation VR as it is right now, Roots, to sell headsets? What else could they bring, possibly?
I'll tell you what, there's actually something that people have been screaming for a long time, and I never really understood why, because I used to think, okay, maybe it's because it's an Xbox game, but then it's on PC, and it's like, why is this not virtual reality? And they're finally answering the call, Wes, and I think it's about time.
Yeah, man. And, kind of a surprise here because we've been hearing about Minecraft for Quest over the last year. We've been hearing whispers about that. But if you think about it, big picture, it makes so much more sense to bring out Minecraft for PlayStation VR because, again, Sony's selling headsets to their group, right? To the people that have their console already. And unlike Oculus Quest, there are millions and millions of people already owning and playing Minecraft on the PlayStation 4. So if you tell those people who are already playing it and already loving it that they can step inside their world that they built and all they have to do is buy this fairly affordable piece of hardware, I mean, who's not going to do it, Roots?
Yeah, no, this was ironically the very first game I ever tried in virtual reality, outside of the robot thing, and I blew me away. I mean, I'm not a huge Minecraft person. I'm not spending hours upon hours building stuff, but being in that world and going in and checking out stuff, and it's just really cool, man. I think it's about time they brought it to PlayStation VR, and a lot of people were upset for a long time. I've seen people bitching in the Reddits, PlayStation VR, like, why can't we play this game? And so yeah, I'm glad that they finally listened, and I guarantee it's going to sell really well.
I do. I mean, it already has, right? But yeah, it's going to sell even more. It'll have me. I'll probably buy it again. I've bought it. I've bought it. I think 3 times now. I've bought Minecraft across different devices. I'll buy it again for PlayStation 4 if they add in this VR support, and that's an if. It has not been announced for PlayStation VR yet, but gaming publication MP First reports that an internal developer build of the PlayStation 4 game launched last week, update 2.03. The change logs obtained by MP First reportedly show that developers have been working on a PSVR support since at least April, and now internal developer notes list it as PSVR feature completed. A separate update tracker shows that the 2.03 internal patch does indeed support PlayStation VR, although there's no indication when or if this internal build will push out to regular consumers. Roots, obviously, they're not building this thing for fun. They're going to release it.
Yeah.
I got to imagine now that it's in the hands of Sony Quality Assurance, right?
Yeah, why would they not? Especially since it's so desired after, and like you said, why go to the trouble to do it to not release it? That makes no sense. Unless they found that they couldn't do it, but I mean, I don't see how you couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's already clones of Minecraft that you can buy for PlayStation VR. There's a game called Discovery, which I bought so that my kids could get the next best thing to play in Minecraft in VR. But I mean, if this comes out, they're going to flip their lid, man.
Well, and what's cool about Minecraft is it's a very multiplayer oriented game as far as servers and like being able to there's just so much you could do if you were able in VR and going into people's creations. It's amazing, man. Getting on those Minecraft roller coasters and just creating yourself. I mean, I actually went in there and created myself a nice little roller coaster, went through caves and all sorts of stuff. It was cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got to imagine it's probably one of the more versatile games in VR, and will be the same for PlayStation VR when and if it gets released. Um, so I mean, so many big things happening for PlayStation VR. We continue to hear about this stuff, and it continues to support what I said earlier. I think that Sony is planning an event for PSVR to show us the future, not only on PS4 but on PS5 as well. Hopefully, some new hardware. Fingers crossed. I believe it, Roots. I wholeheartedly believe it, and I think by probably by the end of August, we're going to see something. We'll get our own little state of play or something, a little 20 to 30-minute deal, just showing us where they're going with PlayStation VR.
Yeah, not that long to wait.
No, not that long to wait at all. Sloth Monkey says, Roots, I was also not a big fan, but played a little bit of Minecraft before playing Vivecraft. Then I was hooked for quite a while. Amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Ray Delator says Minecraft is going to get a younger generation hooked on VR. That absolutely could be the case. I think the kids want VR already. Honestly, uh, I mean, you could see it in Rec Room and some of these other places. Um, Rich kids have it and they love it, right?
Yeah, especially something like this, man. Like, especially if you're really into it, and if you can do like the adventure modes, or like they've got the Hunger Games, and they've just got a lot of different cool things that's on top of being able to build your own stuff. They've got other people's worlds, and so that's really cool as well.
Oh, dude, could you imagine if this comes out on PlayStation VR, the effect it's going to have on the Rec Room lobby? We might be able to take Rec Room back, Roots.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, I've kind of been itching to play Rec Room lately and get in there and finish those quests we started.
Yeah,
Because we made it far and we beat one of them, I think, and made it deep into one or two others.
yeah, we should do it. We should do it for the Patreon that we were talking about.
Boom, there you go. I'm down 100%. It's calling my name, Roots. I think it's time.
I think so too.
Anyway, Minecraft for PSVR, all but confirmed. So keep an eye out for this one. I got to imagine this is going to be one of their crown jewels, right? When they have their little state of play thing or whatever for PSVR, this has got to be one of the heavy hitters, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be one of the things that freaks everybody out, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about something different. Let's get off of PSVR for a little while. We've been going for like an hour or something on PSVR. Let's talk about Boneworks Roots. Boneworks update 1.5 is called Zombie Warehouse. And even though my notes say that it's due out this week, I'm pretty sure this thing came out yesterday, Roots. And as the name suggests, it features zombified enemies and will add a board gun to the game's growing list of weaponry and tools. Roots, did you watch the trailer for the Zombie Warehouse? And if so, what did you think about it?
I did watch it. I thought it was pretty cool. The zombies don't look any different than they normally do, though, right? I mean, they just look like the guys that walk up to you. And I do think the whole premise behind it is cool. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's cool that they're still adding stuff to the game. So.
Yeah, man. And normally I don't like these like sandbox wave style levels or games even. But I kind of liked it in Boneworks. I tried it out with the last update. I finally went down and tried out some of the sandbox, and these are big maps. I mean, they're not insignificant. They're big maps that you can move through and complete freedom in what is probably the most physics dominated space in VR, period, Boneworks. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I need to go back into it. I still haven't beaten this game. So I think it'd be pretty cool. Now, there's no multiplayer for this, is there? That would be really cool. I don't know, having all these guys coming at you with somebody else.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I got to imagine that would be infinitely difficult. The way this game is physics based, to have two sources of movement and change happening in a physics based world, I got to imagine would be very, very CPU demanding.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true.
The board gun lets you shoot at 2 points on the map, and then it connects a wooden board between those 2 points. You can also, though, take the gun on the offensive and use it to phase solid matter straight into the middle of enemies. Um, so, yeah, you use this board gun basically to board up windows, Ruuts, because it's a zombie horde, right? You need to do that. But if you want to get offensive with it, you can. Much like everything else in Boneworks, you can really get creative with with the way you fight.
Yeah, looks really cool. Crazy.
Looks like Premature has joined the chat. What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming. The update is also said to add some general gameplay improvements. This has been the case every time they've updated the game, Ruuts. The physics get better, the gameplay gets a little bit better, and I like the game a lot more now than even I did when it launched, and it was great then.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a solid title. It's one of those games I would say that if you don't own it, you should own it. It's definitely a must own, and that date is today, June 18th.
That is today, yes, sir. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so it is out.
So yeah, active right now in Boneworks. We have a whole new mode. You guys might want to check it out. I certainly am going to check it out. I think I need to get back in, like you said, Ruuts, on the story mode, because I was getting fairly deep into it. I'm thinking that there's not a lot of it left, so I need to go ahead and polish it off.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I want to put it away.
Skiva says one of the best games ever. I got to agree with that, man. I mean, for all its faults, I mean, it's an odd thing, right? Because I've never had a game that I regard so highly that at the same time I'm so critical of. There's so much about this game that I can criticize, but in spite of all that, it's still one of the very best in VR.
Yeah, I agree.
I wish they'd let us mess with our own physics preferences. Well, God, if they would just turn down the gravity just a little bit, Sloth Monkey, just a little bit, it would be so much more comfortable. So yeah, I agree.
Or get rid of your arms. Just have your hands, like in Half-Life Alyx. Yeah.
Yeah, that could help as well. Or have a virtual door stop or something to keep you from pulling filing cabinets over on top of you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, so that's going to wrap up our news, Ruuts. Some 2 hours and 15 minutes into the show, we're finally getting around to reminders. And as always, we want to remind you all to join us as we do our part to support the developers by wishlisting some of these completely awesome games. And Ruuts, man, I don't think we've ever had an episode so jam-packed full of awesome games as we have today.
No, there's so many, dude, and we didn't even talk about all of them. Some of them will be covered on Sunday, so.
Yeah, man, I got to imagine that Sunday show is going to be, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter, but it's going to be difficult, right?
Yeah, yep, for sure.
All right, so let's all go together. You're all at your computers. You all know what to do. Go into Steam and or Oculus or the Quest store or the Sony PSN store, and let's wish list some of this stuff. And Ruuts, it's pretty clear what I'm going to first, right? What are you going to? Let me ask you that. What are you going after first?
Probably, I guess, just the ones in the earlier. Like I don't have I don't think I've got Wrath, the Oblivion wish list.
No, they just announced that. I wouldn't imagine that either of us would have that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I gotta sign in. I'm signed in the wife's account here, so I need to get back in mine. Yeah. Wraith the Oblivion, a no-brainer. I would also say that the Star Wars game as well
most definitely
is a no-brainer.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's see here. I'm trying to remember which password I used for.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the Star Wars Rogue Squadron. I mean, the other one. I'm sure Star Wars Rogue Squadron's on here, right?
Oh, it's got to be on there. They said it was available for pre-order. So let's see here. Star
Yep.
There it is. Star Wars Squadrons. Boom. Right there it is. Yeah, October 2nd. And added to my wish list officially as of right now.
Cool.
Let's go check out, see if they have the page set up for Wraith.
I don't see it.
We need to make sure we use the whole.
So did you pre-order Star Wars?
No, I didn't pre-order it, not yet.
Yeah, me neither. But I will.
Isn't it going to be available on like a subscription service, kind of like PlayStation Now, only through EA?
I have no idea. Probably. That's what Alex was saying, I think. He said, right? He was going to play it that way. So
yeah, you guys let us know in the comments. Does the EA access really cover every game that they release? Because if it does, that might be the way to go. I don't know what the pricing is like on the EA access, but I mean that might be the way to go, at least to try it out before you drop the 40. You know, if it's cheap enough, you might want to go that direction, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we don't have a Steam page yet for Wraith the Oblivion, but you know what we do have a Steam page for, Ruuts? Trial by Tengu.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to go and wishlist that because I thought that game looks funny and fun, and it looks very beautiful from a graphical perspective as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's already on my wish list, so I guess I can't do that, huh?
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there's tons of it, more every day. So anyway, you guys will be sure to let us know in the comments down below, what did you wish list out of all this cool stuff that we've talked about here today? Or, I mean, it could be anything else, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Derail Gaming says Origin Premiere does. So, okay, there we go. So, yeah, so I guess there are ways around dropping that 40, huh? All right. EA Access coming to Steam in the fall, Derail says. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so that brings us to our second reminder and one of my favorite parts of the show. Every week, week in, week out, free stuff and killer deals. And this is a particularly good week for the free stuff and killer deals Ruuts because it also happens to be the Steam Summer Game Festival this week. And the Steam Summer Game Festival includes free playable demos to a metric shit ton of upcoming VR games, including Renlo, Blunt Force, Now the Lost Eye, Mini Motor Racing X, Traffic Jams, Paper Beast, and many, many more. Ruuts, did you get in on the free demo fest that Steam is providing for us right now?
I did actually. Well, I haven't played any yet, but I downloaded a couple of games. Was it Now or NAUU? And I saw some other things on there. I didn't even think about Paper Beast, you know, and so I need to check out Paper Beast, and so I need to try some of these. I mean, it's free, right?
Yeah, Paper Beast was an odd one, man, because you know, I expected it to be there. I knew it was going to be there, but they didn't really list it in the VR section. Like if you go to the game festival and you click on VR, and there's a whole big list of like 20 or 30 demos that you can download. The Paper Beast demo was not listed on it. I had to like search for Paper Beast to find that demo. So I found that to be a little bit odd.
Yeah, well, you have to let me know because I want to try it. I want to check it out. And this one here, The Lost Eye, looks pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I downloaded and installed that one as well. This is a game we've talked about a couple of times on Virtual Strangers when they announced it a few months back. Looks good. I mean, it looks intriguing. It looks like it has good production value, and it looks story driven. And it looks, you know, I look forward to trying out the demo. I really wouldn't have expected them to have a playable demo so fast, but apparently this thing must have been in development for a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like free. So, and getting to try all these different games makes a very different aspect. How cool is it that I saw Cass and Sherry, and this is a PlayStation VR commercial. Talk about making it big, right? That's pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Um, yeah, man, they're popular, man. I mean, it pays. It pays. Well, never mind. I don't want to. I don't want to
yeah.
piss some people off with my.
No,
You
it's
guys know what I'm going to say.
yeah,
So
but I just think it's really cool to see anybody make it in that's been around from the beginning. And
yeah, and their content is truly top notch. I mean, a lot of the stuff that in my technical setup here was put together following tutorials from their channel. So yeah, a great channel, and I highly recommend it. And good to see them, like you said, getting this kind of recognition to be in this advertisement. It's really cool.
yeah.
So yeah, this is what we're looking at here. This is Traffic Jams. It's an upcoming VR game being published by Vertigo Games, actually, which I found a little bit surprising. But it looks like there's mobile crossplay on it, and not my cup of tea, Roots, but that doesn't mean it's not fun.
Yeah, looks like it could be fun. So I know Gamertag was streaming it earlier too. So
Yeah, yeah. So if this is something that's that's down your alley, no pun intended,
hmm.
you might want to check it out. You know what really surprised me, Roots, was I thought that Blunt Force was dead. You know, they announced Blunt Force forever ago, and then silence. Nothing ever came from that again. But now, out of nowhere, not even on the Upload Showcase, but on the Steam thing, there's a playable demo for Blunt Force. What the hell is going on here?
I don't know, but I downloaded it and I'll check it out. Now people were saying it's good. Some people are crapping all over it, so it'll be interesting to see if it's good or not. Now, that was you said you thought it was dead, right?
Yeah, man, I thought this development had ceased on this game. It had been so long since we had gotten any news at all for it. I just thought it was gone, you know, and apparently that couldn't be further from the truth. And I'm glad of it because, I mean, graphically stunning, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Renlo, we talked about on this past Monday show. The very same demo that we talked about on Monday, available to you to play today. And the early access version of Renlo drops next week. So it's a good time to figure out whether or not you want to drop the money on that one, huh?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next levels. So
Yeah, so Steam absolutely chock full of some free stuff, but that's not all. There's a few killer deals as well that I noticed. You can pick up Blind for $6. You know, I've always been curious about this game Run of My Dan. It has great reviews, uh, and it's everywhere, Roots. It looks very high quality. It's on sale for $3 right now. $3.
what's it called?
And Run of My Dan,
Hmm.
Mydan. And, you know, it's a game I've had my eye on for a long time, but I've never played it. So you guys let me know if you've ever played Run of My Dan. Is it worth the $3 they're asking for it? That's not a lot of money.
Yeah, you should pick it up.
Guns and Stories Bulletproof, $5. And so is the Gates of Nowhere Roots. Two solid games there. Guns and Stories Bulletproof, Gates of Nowhere, $5. I mean, come on, bro.
I just played through this game, the Guns and Stories, and I thought it was really good. It was a good shooter game, and I'm not even. I mean, I guess there's extra stuff I could do, but definitely worth $5 as well as Gates of Nowhere.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's fun to be inside of a high quality arcade game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I like games. Sometimes I like a wave shooter, bro. I
Yeah,
don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's a bunch of them for a reason. It's because it's fun.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's Steam. Of course, your weekly reminder that PlayStation Plus games for June are Call of Duty World War II, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah, I get it. They're not VR games, but they are free, and you guys know very well that just because a PlayStation game isn't VR today, that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be a PSVR game tomorrow. So what's the harm in picking it up?
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, 100%. Epic Game Store. You know, at the time we did these notes, it was Ark Survival Evolved and the Samurai Showdown Neo Geo collection, but no longer because it just switched over Ruuts to Pathway. So Pathway is available now through June 25th for free on the Epic Game Store.
Nice. Derail says Run of My Dan is a great game for $3.
Yeah, man, I thought it looked cool, and the reviews all say the same thing. They all say it's great. So, hybrid energy in the house. What's up, Ruuts? What's up, guys? What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming. Oh, looks like Skiva's got a jet. Well, you're not missing much, buddy. We're about to wrap it up here ourselves. Just one more thing I wanted to mention before we go. One more last killer deal. Last week, Contractors was $10 on Steam. I found it odd that it was not on sale on the Oculus Store. Well, this week, Contractors is $10 on the Oculus Store. We've been having a load of fun in this game. It continues to get upgraded and patched every few days, and it's already awesome. So cannot recommend it enough for $10. Get it while it's hot.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up Free Stuff and Killer Deals and bring us to our last reminder of this and every week, and that is how you can help support our community and how you can help support our show. Of course, for those of you new to the channel who haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell. That is the easiest and best way that you can help grow our channel and thus grow our community. Again, as we mentioned earlier, there's an invitation in our description to join the Discord. The Discord is the home of our community. That's where we interact with each other day in and day out. The show may end, but the conversation goes on, and it goes on the Discord, right, Ruuts?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, always.
Oh, Mamefan up late, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. He's probably been lurking the whole time. Oh, Jarillo too. Where you guys been hanging out at, huh? They're getting back in from the bar, dude. It's almost midnight.
That's right.
All right. So subscribe, join the Discord, Patreon. If you're a long time subscriber and you would like to do a little something more to help support us, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon. And for as little as $3 per month, you can not only gain early access in most cases, to my show notes, which, as you can see, sometimes go on for quite some time, but also you gain access to exclusive content, including gameplays and episodes of The Money Show, which are normally a collection of outtakes and conversations between Ruuts and myself. Slave Lace says he's also been lurking the whole time. Hey, that's all good, man. As long as you guys are showing up and appreciating the content, that's all we ask for. So I appreciate it. Mamefan, Jarillo, Slave Blaze, anybody else who may be lurking that hasn't said hi yet, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
D-Real says, what tier on Patreon gives the topless mode? Well, not the $3. Maybe, what, the $5 Ruuts will go topless?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
$5 to go topless, $10 to put it back on.
Yeah, really.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up, Ruuts. An epic show as predicted, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of games, for sure.
Games and games and games and games, and it doesn't stop here, friends. Tune in on Sunday for Virtual Strangers 62 or 63, and it's going to pick up right where this one left off. We're going to talk some more about the upload games. We're going to talk some more about the inevitable news that's going to come out between now and then, and we're going to talk some more about this mod that we're getting ready to play. You guys be sure to go onto the Discord. Let us know which mod you want us to cover next week, whether it be Alien Isolation, Grand Theft Auto 5, or Skyrim, or anything else. Let us know what you want. And with that said, friends, we would like to thank you once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you Sunday, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.